Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook, located on the ancestral lands of the Settlecot Nation. My name is Carol Castillo, and I am happy to be co-leading worship this morning, along with fellow worship associate Sarah Lutterby and our consulting minister, Reverend David Messner, live and in person. Music this morning will be provided by our choir, the Unicorn Singers, under the direction of our interim director, Linda Contino. We have some special guests as well. We have, I think Dee Dee is accompanying on violin, and Mr. Anthony Zambito, a special guest this morning. Bethany Riddle will accompany the hymns as well as the choir. Our Director of Religious Education is Patrick McDevitt, and our tech team this morning, Rob Pond, Linda Cortese, and Rich Hall. So welcome everyone here in our sanctuary and those who are attending online. We are one congregation worshiping together, so let's take a moment and say hello and wave in the camera on this side to the people who are watching and worshiping online. I'd like to offer a very special welcome to those of you who are here for the first or second time. We're very glad that you came or tuned in, and we look forward to getting to know you better. If you feel comfortable doing so right now, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can recognize you and greet you personally after the service. Anybody? Okay. Oh, yes. Good morning. Welcome. Whether you have joined in the sanctuary or online, please plan to join after as guests for coffee hour and conversation. And also, just today, we are having special circle group meetings. We invite you to stay for that, even if you didn't RSVP. If you are online and you want to sign off after the service and grab your beverage and snack and then return to the website, you will find the link for joining the virtual coffee hour and a small group chat. Either way, whether you're online or here in person, we know that you're going to find friendly people who can answer any questions you might have. For sharing joys and concerns at any time during the service, please feel free to come forward to the table on your left and drop a pebble in the water. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, release a bit of pain, or otherwise mark something that is on your mind or in your heart, you may quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into the water, connecting your individual intention with the intentions of all in our community. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't already done so. That way we can all be fully present in this time together. And I just want to invite Linda Cortese to come up for a brief moment with a special announcement.
Good morning, everyone. I know many of you are probably wondering how we did at our goods and services auction last night. So we estimate that after expenses, we made roughly $16,000 in profit. That is more than we've made in recent years. And thank you to everyone who came out to bid, everyone who donated items, the myriad of folks who helped out to make this event possible. If you had to leave early yesterday and couldn't pay your invoice and not sure what you won, please see either Tina Good or myself after services. We'll be set up in the back. Thank you so much, everyone who participated.
Now let us enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the morning bell. May its vibrations open our hearts, clear our minds, and bring us fully into this moment.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. For those at home, I invite you to light a chalice or a candle as we kindle our flame here in the sanctuary. This morning, we invite Cecilia Brock to come forward and light the chalice. This is called The Blessing of Right Now and is based on the words of the poet William Stafford. It could happen any time. Tornado, earthquake, Armageddon, it could happen. Or sunshine, love, salvation, it could, you know. That's why we wake and look out. No guarantees in this life, but some bonuses, like morning, like right now. May this light we now kindle awaken us to the blessings of this day, this morning, this moment of now we share together.
I'm quite conscious that mostly when we're together I appear as only a head. With more seriousness, we gather here today to take part in a kind of sacred conversation, an offering and a receiving between each of us, like and different, same and individual, an offering and a receiving between those of us who are here and those who have come before, and yes, those who have yet to arrive. There is magic, real magic in this unending conversation. The offering up of a word, the receiving of that word. That is our tradition which we transmit in this place. Frederick Buechner, one of my role models, I suppose, said this about words. In Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, the term dabar means both word and deed. Thus, to say something is to do something. Words are power, essentially the power of creation. By my words, I both discover and create who I am. By my words, I elicit a word from you. Through our conversation, we create each other. This is, I believe, at the heart of our life in faith community. We are engaged, as people have heard me say, yesterday I said it a few times, in a co-creative enterprise. It is not one of us offering and another receiving, but a dialogical project, back and forth, offering what we come to know, receiving it, being changed by it, and moving forward week by week and year by year, and yes, generation by generation. That's the power of what we're doing here. Let us feel the power. Let us know that we are an intrinsic part of it. And without us, this place does not move. This place does not rise. This place does not sing the way it does when each of us offers what we have. Welcome, friends, to the celebration of life. It is so good to be together again. Let us worship. Shall I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for the singing of our first hymn with number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Now for the story, The Girl with the Big, Big Questions, written by Brittany Wynn Lee, illustrated by Jacob Suva. There was once a girl with twinkling eyes and a very curious mind. This girl was always asking questions whose answers weren't easy to find. The world is so very interesting. She wanted to learn all she could, from what makes a plane stay in the sky to what makes each person good. Her days were filled with adventures galore, since her mind was so full of wonder. How long can a turtle stay in its shell? Why does lightning come before thunder? Why can't people live on the moon? What happens to stars when they fall? When will you let me stay up all night? Why even have bedtime at all? What does the dog do when I'm at school? Hey, how is the whole world made? And why do we have big hearts that can feel hurt and upset and afraid? Can I fly if I get a good running start? The nearest volcano is where? Are monsters real? What's Spanish for blue? Is it okay if I cut my own hair? From the moment she opened her eyes for the day to the time she was tucked into bed, she'd ask and ask and ask and ask every question that popped in her head. At first, her neighbors and teachers and friends tried to answer her wonder-filled mind, but after a while, their encouraging smiles were replaced with rolling eyes. She noticed her questions were making them tense, and one day, her class hit the limit. After she asked a dozen things about clouds, class hollered, "Stop it, just quit it." But one day, she found the nest of a bird built low and exposed on the ground. Why would a nest not be in a tree, she wondered, and then looked around. She was all by herself, with no one to ask. So she ran to the library shelves. She read about cities and lack of safe places for birds to build nests for themselves. Like hunting for treasure, she searched and learned more answers that made her frown. With an urgent report, she announced to her class, "There are not enough trees in our town." The class, now moved by this information, asked questions about how to embark on a project to help both the birds and their neighbors by planting more trees in the park. The girl knew then that big questions are good and answers aren't just things to know. They are things to discover alongside each other. Asking questions is how we all grow. Please join together to sing the children out to their classrooms with the Reeb benediction you'll find in the inside back cover of your hymnals.
We'll now enter into a time of meditation. We'll begin with spoken words, which are by Reverend Richard S. Gilbert, called How Is It With You? Then we'll have time for silent meditation. After that, Bethany will bring us out of the silence with hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. You may wish to open to that page now in your hymnal, number 6. How is it with you this Sabbath day? How goes it with your spirit? How strongly throbs the pulse of your soul? In this dedicated space and hour, it is time to ask. It is time to see what we are doing with our lives. If all is well and the day begins with promise, let us celebrate that joy with you. We are glad and invite you to share your faith with us. If it does not go well and the day begins with foreboding, we are here to hold your hand and listen to your story. Let us share the difficulties of living with you. If your life moves back and forth between promise and peril, between joy and sorrow, between achievement and disappointment, we welcome you to the assembly of all souls who find life ever intriguing and never predictable. Whoever you are, wherever you are on the journey, here we can take our pulse, assess our living, and vow to continue to enjoy life's promise, to cope with its peril, and celebrate the fate that is ours, to live as best we can.
It is our spiritual practice to share our offering plate with an organization working for a more just future. For the month of November, our shared plate recipient is Planned Parenthood Hudson Peconic. We have supported them before. Their dedication to reproductive justice is important to many Unitarian Universalists. We are living in a time when their mission is severely challenged. Planned Parenthood Hudson Peconic, which serves Suffolk County, continues to provide much-needed health care, services such as birth control, sexually transmitted infection testing, prenatal care, and gender-affirming hormone care. They offer reproductive health education that is comprehensive, medically accurate, and age-appropriate. In giving to Planned Parenthood Hudson Peconic, we support their good work in our local communities. Please give generously to this worthy organization. For those worshiping online, we need your donations too, and the link to donate is in the comments now and also on the homepage of our website.
The good seed on the land, but it is fed and watered by God's almighty hand. God sends the snow in winter, the warmth to swell the grain, the breezes and the sunshine, the soft refreshing rain.
One of our collective spiritual practices in this house, I have learned, is during this time in the service, and really I think any time in the service, it's allowed to go and to take a stone and to release it into the water, marking a joy or a sorrow of the heart, a remembrance, a milestone in our lives. Such, strangely enough, is one aspect of this conversation we're having. There are elements of it that are silent. And as in music, the silent parts matter as much as the sung parts, do they not? I invite you on this day to make this a reflective space, to lift up the joys and sorrows in your own life, to mark them in ritual ways, but also maybe to have the courage to share them aloud from time to time. I was struck this morning, as I say, we're not always together in person, and one of the things I miss so much is people who grab me for like 30 seconds to tell me a 5-minute story. I want to know what's happening in your life, what's happening in your heart, what's real to you today. Sometimes they're worries, sometimes they're heavy. We each have some of those things. And then sometimes they're joys, sometimes small and sometimes great. What a gift it is when we offer those to each other. Let us continue that life-giving practice with one another, with the stones and with the voices we have been given.
This is an excerpt of a piece called Original Blessing, written by Matthew Fox. Blessing involves relationship. One does not bless without investing something of oneself in the receiver of one's blessing, and one does not receive blessing oblivious of its gracious giver. A blessing spirituality is a relating spirituality. And if it is true that all of creation flows from a single loving source, then all of creation is blessed and is a blessing, atom to atom, molecule to molecule, organism to organism, land to plants, plants to animals, animals to other animals, people to people, and back to atoms, molecules, plants, fishes. On and on Dabor flows, on and on blessing flows, for where there is Dabor, there is blessing.
Because of the season, grades have been on my mind lately. That's mostly because on the airplane, I'm busy grading midterms that are overdue, and I get anxious emails from students. I'm just thinking about, I'm a little bit worried about my grade. Can you tell me what my grade is? My heart is open to them. And I don't want to leap too quickly to tell them, don't worry about your grades. There are bigger matters to worry about in life. Because it matters. And please, please do read the text that I've assigned. Please, please do raise your voice in the small group conversations I have, because it's hard to be the only one speaking in this sacred conversation. Is it not? I have teachers in the room, so I know many of you can share the sense of what to do with 30 silent students staring like aquarium fish. Now, let me take a step back, farther back in humility for learning about grades. See, I became a minister as a second career. Interestingly, many Unitarian ministers come to you not fresh off the turnip truck, but after some cycle of other activities. So as you anticipate your next minister, you don't know if you'll get someone relatively freshly newborn or someone a little longer in the tooth, but nonetheless, encountering this work anew. You don't know. I became a student again, I think at 40 years of age, and that is a distinctive and humbling experience. The subjection of yourself to all of that intensity and judgment and different kind of obligation than it is to show up at a corporate meeting. It's different to show up at a graduate school class. It's different to write a memo than it is to write a theology paper. Looking upon that experience with older eyes, and dare I say, I think as we get older and older, we cultivate our second brain, right? The capacity for meta-thinking, the capacity to see ourselves in the moment as we really are. And oh my gosh, again, how humbling it is. How I long for the days where I had no self-awareness whatsoever. On that note, I am so amazed at everything we do, given how much we know. I am amazed whenever we stand up and we preach to one another, we tell each other stories, we sing songs, and we do it with such courage and freedom and abandon. And that's what I'm preaching on today. The relationship between something like excellence, the virtue of courage, and the practices we have of judgment, and I'm going to use this lens of grading and all of its wonder. Now, let's go back for me to 40 years old. It's not that I had lost all sense of what it was to be evaluated, because it is the truth that in every one of our institutions, business, politics, even the ecclesial world, each has their own often exquisitely complex evaluative regime. There isn't a place we go that there's not some mechanism of evaluation. I was coming out of the men's room at the airport. They had which you'll need to know about, of course. They had a button on the wall, a screen to say, "How was your experience today?" I don't even want to touch their buttons, much less share my experience. But such is the continuous instinct to say, "Tell me, how am I doing? I just need some feedback. How was your experience today?" I'm sure you'll tell me in the exit line. All of these evaluative regimes, and all have endless, mindless, and often pointless grading going on. Pushing the one button versus the other button, assigning a 4 versus a 3. Will it be cleaner tomorrow? Or really, aren't you going to clean this bathroom the same way no matter what? Pointless evaluation. And it's not just the public institutions I'm worried about in this matter of judgment and grading. Let's bring it close to home. I'm worried about, by worried, I mean like really deeply contemplating the evaluative brain that we've so wonderfully developed, how it functions in places like our little meeting house, how it functions in our home, and how it functions in the house of our own mind. How do we evaluate ourselves? How do we think about the good we do in the world, and even more importantly, how do we think about the not so good we do in the world? It's not just childhood when we're subject to being graded. Our experiences in 7th grade set a template for what we do later in all the places later. How we work to get A's, and who is in charge of assigning us the A or the B or the C or the D. Anyone ever get a D before? I did. That's a whole other conversation, but I'm ready to, this is my confessional. That's the thing about the pulpit, the glory of preaching. You can confess anything, and it's got pedagogical good, and it redeems my freshman year math class. My hope today, this little message and the charge to you, is toward a little shift in mindset, if you need one, like I do. To leave maybe old mindsets behind and do some reinvention of the way we construct our relationships, the relationship to each other, inside institutions and outside of them, our relationship to ourselves, And the way in which we encourage one another, I recorded a sermon for you in which I was talking about this leadership ethic of encouragement of one another. I wish us to encourage ourselves in a way, and wherever we're given a chance for some kind of reinforcement, some little tool, like a grade book, if we're given a grade book and able to impose them upon others, take it as this invitation toward encouragement, invitation to use that little tool, not to keep people down and nervous, but to light people up and invite them into something bigger. I think our work, our mission, are we a missional place? Is to invite people into something bigger, more beautiful, and more kind. I just wish this to be a house of kindness and invitation, a house of possibility, and a house of becoming. That's the excitement in this place and why you must never miss a Sunday. Because if you come every Sunday, you see the changes that would be missed otherwise. You see people become right before you. I was sitting at this auction last night. It's a miracle you all came here today at all. Bless you, my friends. That is just wonderful. But anyway, I was sitting there with people who've been here 50 years. And you could share that sometime after. You know, what is the glory of 50 years is that you get to see changes on an almost ecological scale, right? You see children from the RE program, and good Lord, we're now middle-aged if you've seen 50 years, right? And even in just a few years, you see a person go from the first time they sang in the back of the choir, right, to singing the solo out front. You know, you see the first worship associate who was shy that first time burst forth and give their first sermon. Wow. I mean, you see these changes, the reality of this being a house of becoming. And when you see other people do it in 100 ways, you say, I can do it too. Because we've made a safe space to become something different. I felt such joy doing a newcomers class yesterday. And again, there were some people there who had been here 20 years who I think came for the free food. I don't know. No, enthusiasm to learn more and to become more. And what people talk about in this space of, when we talk about it, are their hopes of becoming and expressing a side of themselves they haven't previously expressed, their hope to make it in their journey from one stage to another. Most of the people who come to this fellowship or come to church more broadly in this country, they come at moments of transition, change, and instability. There are moments of separation in our life, moving from one stage of our life to another, right? How many stories do I hear? I could name a dozen. One of my close friends who just went through gender transition and talking about like what was church that allowed them to navigate that many-year process. Many people have just lost their life partner and thinking about what does it look like navigating this stage of my life. It's a new life. How do I become to live into this new life and bring the best of everything in my old life with me? That's the project. That's where my energy is from yesterday. And my concern today is thinking about how we use this judgmental capacity, this idea of this greater's power, in order to encourage that project, right? And I really think about that teaching. It's been really, you can tell I brought it up a few times when I preach. This experience of teaching in college has been really powerful for me somehow at this age and stage, at this moment being mindful of, and I suppose, as I reflect on it right here, I got these kids, forgive me for calling them kids, but they're just the same age as my son. And so I just have this very parental heart of just wanting what's good for them. And I want them to feel good in the place, and I want them to feel like, yes, they understand what John Locke is saying. And that's a platform for something, but it's not the most important thing. And I'm constantly, I've learned about that in church life for me. Because yes, I have something to teach. You know, we could learn what in our case, as I joke, what Emerson said, let's focus on self-reliance and read the essay. But in doing so, if we get lost in the essay, we lose the point. And so too, if we worry about exquisite mastery of that one essay, whether it's John Locke or Ralph Waldo Emerson, we miss the point, because all of it is merely a vehicle to form these dialogical relationships, these conversational relationships that coax us into becoming something greater. And to get, again, theological, to encourage us into relationships in which we co-create a world. Through our conversation, through our engagement, through our collaboration, through our joint lifting of our voices, we create a world that otherwise wouldn't exist. We change the world. We make a world of our own. That's an extraordinary power to me. And so I think about that all the time, whether I'm a teacher or whether I'm a pastor, is that I've been given a few tools. Maybe that's the grade book, and maybe that's the power of the pulpit. I've been given a gift for what? Given 50 minutes a week to give you a sermon. And that's a laugh line. Yeah, it's not going to be 50 minutes. But I'm given this a certain power. So we take seriously, like, oh, you gave me the pulpit so I could offer a word. What is the word going to do? You gave me a grade book so I can offer you a word. And is it conducive to becoming who you're called to become? And who, frankly, we need you to become. For the great insight is that my flourishing is dependent on your flourishing. And if you show up for me and I show up for you, maybe we do something extraordinary together. And when we're given power in our institutions, are we using the tools of power to drive that great project? And to go political for a moment, this is what's a heartbreak for me of a current situation. We elect people. This democratic enterprise, to me, is the same thing. We say, we're going to give you extraordinary power. We know we're giving you extraordinary power. Now use it to transform this community into something more powerful, something more righteous, something more beautiful, something more encouraging. And when the people we give power to don't do that, it's a heartbreak. It's a crime. And in my own way, with humility, I don't want to just shake my fist at those with great power. I want to recognize that I have modest power, but power nonetheless, and I have the same duty of care that I wish all of those people would exercise. And so let me get back to this idea of grading, because it's how we use that power. My first, and I was not a good student way back on. And my assumption way back then was grades were there to somehow keep us down and keep us anxious, right? And I want to plant this seed here because you're just 10 seconds away from going into search for a new minister, which is so exciting. So exciting. And so I feel now, too, I want to give the charge to everyone who's going to have new relationships, which is that if you use power to either keep people down or keep people nervous, you've missed an opportunity. Nervous, anxious people don't do well, and they don't show up to play their part in this sacred project. You don't want nervous, anxious ministers. Not in your canoe. You want them in someone else's canoe. Everyone we have here, we want to feel safe, emboldened, enlivened, and operating in a spirit of experimental joy. That's what we want. That's why I love, and I so appreciate the reading of Matthew Fox, who's now in the Catholic Church kicked him out because he was too Unitarian. The Episcopalians finally took him in. That text, if you didn't hear it, was this idea of original blessing as a counter-argument to original sin, which is to say, the whole notion of creation didn't start with a story about brokenness. The whole notion of creation was like a seed of something magical. I was having a magical conversation this morning about the seeds and the beautiful things that grow, right? There's magic in that. Like each of us is a seed and something to grow. So I used to look askance at what does your grade have to do with my beautiful flowering and everything else and poo-poo. And I felt that way for me. And as I got older, though, I started to think, well, gee, but grades might be good for some people, right? It might inspire some confidence if my cardiologist had gotten good grades in school. Am I wrong? Do we not? When there's a moment of the medical, do we say, oh, no, do you look at the degree on the wall? Even for my dentist, I kind of look over there, oh, that's Tufts, that's not okay. And I open my mouth. Really, is that important? It is. For some people, grades might matter. Now, ministers, I don't know. We'll come back to ministers, but maybe physicists. We have any physicists in the room? Y'all are calculating like trajectory of, like, I want you to hit Mars. It's like a pinpoint, I mean, like probably do the math right, those sorts of things, you know. And yet, how do we create a system? And I mean it, like all not the soft things. If I read a poem slightly wrong, what's the worst that can happen in this pulpit, right? Like, let's think about that. I mean, not to minimize it, but when I put it next to my cardiologist, I think I have leeway, you know, or a surgeon, you know, or those sorts of things. I was thinking, now it's about a decade ago, but there was an extraordinary story. There were 92 officers out at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. And do you know about Malmstrom Air Force Base? That's where the 341st Missile Wing resides. And they're down in bunkers, and they have buttons to launch long-range ballistic nuclear weapons. It's a squad of people who do this. And taking this work as quite serious, they have all these tests you have to keep taking, you know, like push this button to launch the missile, don't push that button when you don't want launch. There's a bunch of tests that focus on the technical aspects of launching and not launching long-range ballistic nuclear missiles. And that's pretty much this extreme case of, yeah, get it right. Like, have the protocols and don't make errors in launching nuclear missiles. So they have these tests, and the rule was they have to get 90% on the tests in order to keep working. Now, let's just pause and think about a 1 in 10 error rate. But let's put that aside. Let's suppose at least 90%, and I can get on board about it. There's no room in the bunker for anyone but A students, and I'll add this to my heart surgeon. Like, give me the A+ guy. That's fine. The issue was, though, that the 100% mentality was so intense in the place that constantly they berated the people about it, that you will have 100%, you're out of here. And if you don't get 100%, we're all going to fail. And so there's constant pressure created, as they said, a climate of constant fear. And if there's one thing you don't want, are constantly fearful and excessively nervous missile operators. It's the same thing. So there's a little bit of paradox of living here I'm trying to lift up, which is excellence and performance. It's true, it's right. We're called to this kind of intensity and run faster and everything else. And yet, the environment, the relationships, the frame of mind which is conducive to that extraordinary performance is exactly not one animated by pressure, antagonism, and hostility. That's the puzzle. A puzzle of life that we have these great challenges in front of us, and they are real, they are not imaginary. There are people who hunger, who need us. There are people who suffer and would suffer more based on decisions we make. That is heavy and serious as a button, if you know what I mean. And yet, the necessity that we find the spaciousness and an ease to go lightly into that work. That in the most difficult aspects of our life, we treat ourselves with a gentleness, and we treat one another with an encouraging hand and a nurturing attitude. Is so great. It is itself the call of the necessity of a religious life. That we continually reground ourselves in the generosity with which we give each other the liberty to do the work that the world needs. What do I mean? One of my favorite guys, he's gone into the sort of motivational speaking thing, which is a little bit what preaching is. And he's a guy named Ben Zander, who's a great conductor. And he tells a wonderful story in his book about getting students. This is on the grading thing. And he would get students, and all of them are, top flight Juilliard. They're the best in the country. And he observed something about their constant anxiety, because they had been raised for 15 years of piano playing, in his case, to be absolutely the best. And they were so anxious, having arrived. They were so anxious yet. And what he said to them is, he turned it upside down. And he said to them on the first day of class, right, I want you to all know that you have already an A today. You've all received an A. I recorded the grades, right? I'm paraphrasing him a little bit. He says, what I want you to do before you come back to class next week is write me a little essay about what you're going to do now to earn the A. This was so resonant for me about our theology of universalism. The heresy, if you remember this, that if you remember back in the early 1800s, the anxiety of the Calvinist theology of, oh my gosh, if you live a good enough life, you'll go to heaven. And if you don't live a good enough life, you're not going to get in, and you're going to go somewhere else, and you're going to fail, and it's all for naught. The other piece of that was, it doesn't matter what you do, you've already been selected or not selected. But we'll leave it aside. Our heresy back then was everyone gets to go. Everyone's going to heaven. That's the nature of this universe. We all have this original blessing in the language of the day. What kind of loving God would condemn any of his children to eternal damnation, so forth. That was the thing that made us the fastest growing religion in America in the 1850s, denomination, right? That message, look, wait a second. Today I take it really seriously that you were born, or let's make it more specific and membership oriented. You walked in this door already worthy of love. You walked in this door already good, brilliant, a person fully formed. The invitation now is to do something with it. You already got your A before you came here. You're not being evaluated in this place. Everything you have is your birthright. No one can take it away from you. There is no one who's in the position to say you are anything less than an extraordinary and beautiful person. But we still have the problem that we're living and breathing, and we have daylight, and what are we going to do with it now? What are we going to do with the gifts we've received? Not to earn anyone's grade, but to transform the world. That, my friends, is what I want you to take with you from this day into our afternoon sessions, where we're reflecting on the kind of community we are and the kind of community we are becoming. I want you to take it with you into the calling of a hiring and then calling of a new minister in that relationship. I want you to take it with you as you go forth and say, how do we confront an increasingly authoritarian regime surrounding us? I want you to take it with you as you look at neighbors who are ever more at risk of either being loaded into a white unmarked van, that happens in Chicago anyway right now, or not being fed tomorrow. Not out of the anxiety of not doing good enough, but knowing you are extraordinary and wondering, curiosity. That's what we were talking about yesterday too, the theological virtue of curiosity. Wondering how we could live differently, how we could stretch ourselves in new ways, how we could live as if we already got an A, as if we are all connected in deep ways, as if there was a new world waiting to be ushered in by us. May we do so, and amen. Now I'll invite you to rise in body or in spirit for hymn number 67. We sing now together. I'm going to invite you to reach out and take a hand of someone next to you because it's my way. Upset the apple cart. Just for a closing word together. As you go from this place, may you be blessed. May you be blessed by minds whose natural habit is that of encouragement. May you be blessed by a sudden awareness of everyone surrounding you and their care, their presence, their friendship. May you be blessed by a spirit that does not quit, but encourages you forward into the challenges that the day holds. And may you be blessed by the knowledge that you yourself are the blessing the world awaits, that you bear a light that today someone needs and awaits. Go in peace, my friends. Amen.
Do you want to do that? As our service concludes, let's take a moment and wave goodbye to the folks online.